I'm Matthew with SUP3Rivers, and today you're gonna see Connie doing a demonstration on an outdoor activity called stand-up paddleboarding. You'll probably hear my voice in the background once she starts doing her lesson and the strokes on the river. So glad to be a part of the video. Good luck, have fun, be safe out there, always wear a life jacket, and Connie's gonna give you a great demonstration right now. Okay.
Hello everybody, this is Connie from Educational Talent Search. I hope you're all doing well. Today we are going to continue our series of things that we can do outdoors to be active and to keep our cells going that's also healthy for our bodies. So during the quarantine time it's been very difficult. People are antsy and they want to get outside, and now that the weather is nice, I'm going to do a paddleboard lesson for you today because this is a great activity that you can do. You can rent paddleboards in many places now. Some of you may have already done that. But we run a company named SUP3Rivers in Pittsburgh, so this is what we do in the summer. And if you're ever here, you can come visit us. But today we're going to talk about basic paddleboarding in a few minutes to show you how easy it is to do. First, we have our essentials. We have a paddle. Typical paddle, whatever the mark is on the front is always the front of the paddle when you're paddling. First thing we want to do is make sure our paddle's the right height. So the paddle should always come to the top of your fingertips. And so this one is a little low, so we're going to move it up to be at the top of my fingertips, and then it simply just locks back in. So now we have like a good height on our paddle. That's what we want. So that's long enough so you get some strength when you're paddling, because strength makes it a lot easier to paddle. Second thing we're going to do is talk about life jackets. Anywhere you go, you should wear a life jacket on water. Specifically, we're on the Monongahela River today in Pittsburgh, and the rivers can be dangerous. Today we have a pretty calm river with no current, but you always have to have a life jacket on the rivers. The water moves faster and goes in one direction, unlike a lake that doesn't, a small lake, man-made lake. So the first thing we're going to do is put on our life jacket. It's very important when you're wearing a life jacket to make sure that it fits in the correct position. So mine is set to fit very snugly. You want it to fit snug. You don't want it to be so tight you can't breathe, but if it's not tight enough, then if you fall off into the water and you're in a current, it could come off like right off the top of your head. So I'm pretty snug here, as you can see. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to take off my shoes, because when you paddleboard, you paddleboard with bare feet. The boards, you can see the board here. The boards have rubber gripping on them, so it's very easy for your feet to grip right to that, so you don't need water shoes or anything like that. And also, you'll notice on our board that there is a leash. The leash is something that you wrap around your ankle, and it keeps the board connected to you, so if you did fall off, the board would just kind of come right back to you. It's a safety feature and a very important one, and it's very simple. You just pick whatever ankle you want to put it on, and whatever's more comfortable for you. It doesn't matter if it's left or right. So putting the board in the water. These are pretty lightweight boards. They only weigh about 25 pounds. The handle in the middle is how you would carry it. But today, to put it in the water, a basic easy way is just to grab your board by the leash, as it's pretty strong. And as you can see, you can just guide it right into the water. Like I said, pretty lightweight, probably 23 pounds on this one. So you just take it into the water, and when you get on a paddleboard initially, you always want to make sure that you get down on your knees first. You never just want to sit here and stand right on a board, because if you slip and fall, you can hit your head or hit anything else and get injured on the dock or whatever you're going off of. So it's very important to start on your feet. So I'm going to put the leash on my right leg, probably because I'm right-handed and it's more comfortable for me. So it's simple, just like that, and you see it's just connected. It doesn't really ever get in your way. Then we're going to grab our paddle, and it's all set to go. So when you're getting on the board, basically you want your knees to be on each side of the handle and be in the same thing. Paddleboarding is not like kayaking. It's not like surfing. You don't stand sideways like this. We're going to face forward. It'll be easier like that. So we're going to get down on our knees. I'll demonstrate just simply how you get down on your knees. And this is the easiest way to start, is on your knees. So if you want to move around a little bit, see if you feel comfortable while you're on the board until you're ready to stand. Today we're very fortunate. We have a pretty nice river, so it's not, we don't have a lot of rapids, so it's not going to be too hard. So next thing we're going to do is stand up. So to stand up, it's very simple. You're just going to lean over like this on all fours, and then you just simply pin one foot to the other foot. You want your feet to be right where your knees were. Slowly stand up, and you can, as you can see, my toes are right at the top. And then when you do stand on a board, it's very, important, especially if you're a beginner, to start paddling immediately. Because when you paddle, you have more balance, and also you don't want to look down at the water. You always want to look ahead because it will make you dizzier and make you feel like you're wobbling. So being on a paddleboard, like I said, is different. All your weight should be centered in the middle of the board. It's a left to right balance. Usually shorter people tend to do better because their center of gravity is closer to the board. So kids, you'll do great. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little trip around here and around the marina, and then Matt, who's the cameraman, is going to talk to you about the paddling that I'm doing. So the first thing we're going to do is a basic front forward paddle. So as you see, I'm holding the top of the paddle, running the paddle along the board.
So right now what she's basically doing is giving herself a thrust forward and a paddle stroke, and she's moving on the right side, keeping her head up, looking at a target in front of her and never looking down. She'll do right side, left side. That's why it's so important that she adjusted her paddle stroke. And now she's going to demonstrate backward stroke so she can turn herself around. And you notice that she puts it behind her ankle and she torques backwards. And as she's torquing backwards, she completely controls the board all together. Faces forward, eyes are up, well balanced on the board, coming at us. You can see how she's pulling to the right a little bit. It's because the river current's going that way. So she's going to compensate by pushing harder on her right side, digging deep straight down and coming directly back to us. Looking at where she wants to go is where the board will go. If she stayed looking down, she would have went straight into one of those boats, and that wouldn't have been good. But she is a very experienced paddler. What we'd like to also show you is a demonstration of how you fall off, but today the water's too cold and she won't do that.
I'm not willing to demonstrate that today.
But if she fell off, the key is to what? Spread your arms out as far as you can and just launch from the board.
Don't try to, if you want to try to save yourself, if you feel like you're going to fall, you can go right back down to your position just like this. You're usually pretty safe.
Right.
If you're ever paddling into a wave, you always want to make sure that you're paddling into it, that it's not going to hit you from behind, because that is what will knock you off. That and basically fear. So as I said, it's that simple.
So Connie, let's say you were off the board, and what would you do immediately? What would you do immediately? You raise your hand to show that you're okay. To instructor. Do not go out by yourselves on these boards. Go with a friend. The other thing is to lean back, because she had the life jacket on, which allows her to be snug, so she leans back, and then she kicks her feet. By kicking the feet, the leash that's on her right ankle right now, tethered to the board, pulls the board back to her. And then she would mount on the side and climb up it army style, army crawl. And she's pretty strong. Sometimes she pops up like a mermaid. But nonetheless, that's basically it. So Connie, why don't you show us, yep, there's your backstroke. Do a 360 for us. It's basically your brakes paddle. That's your brakes paddle. If you run into any danger on the water, you go backstroking to turn yourself around. You get heavy wind, you go backstroking. The key to any paddleboarding on a river, not a body of water that's surrounded by land, on a river, I call that fixed water. I know that's probably not proper term, but the river is, you angle to where you go. You don't fight the current. If the current's hard, you angle it to the shoreline. Always find a shoreline. That's a shoreline where you see trees and people. That's a shoreline, but all trees and industrial. You stay away from that. You get to where you see the ducks and the geese. Always follow the ducks and the geese and you'll be okay. Connie, I think you did a great job for your students, and we're right about 10 minutes. Do you want to add anything else? Or, because you and I are going to go take a paddle today.
Yes, we are, Matt. Thank you. Yes, I just want to say thank you, and I hope you all get outside, get some activity. If you're ever, interested in really paddleboarding, let me know. I always love to help out and help people. But I know you can rent There's at all the rivers, I know there's rental sites around your areas that have paddle boards. So please go out and try it sometime. I promise you, you'll love it. Thank you.
Great job. All right, now I know y'all didn't see who I am, but maybe there'll be a picture of me somewhere. See ya.